Don't watch the sales grow. Empowered to win with eRank we flow.
Hello, eRank. Welcome to another Thursday live Q&A with me, Pam Duthie, and him.
And me,
Bryan.
Bryan. Hi, everyone.
Yay. It's spooky month and Starla's off being married, having her anniversary. So Bryan's joining in for the fun today. And hopefully we've got a whole lot to talk about because we want to be talking about the big question. Is Etsy quiet just now? And yes, is
Yeah.
Etsy always quiet just now? Yes. Yeah. But does it feel a bit more quiet than usual? I think also. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit more than usual.
Yeah, but hopefully we can talk through it. And if nothing else, I think it makes us all feel a little better to know we're not alone, if nothing else.
Exactly. A lot of times as sellers, we do feel like our shop is down, but that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's just the whole market. Sometimes it's all of the markets, which I believe we will get into.
We might do, yeah. If you remind me at the time, yes, you're getting some love on your horns. Do you know when you're starting to say a sentence and thinking that really doesn't sound good? But anyway, Halloween, Jess. If there's any way to turn a word into a Halloweeny one, I'm all for it. So it's Halloween, everybody.
We do, as my shop does. We're in the spooky business, and we tend to turn every word into a ween kind of word.
You've done all the seasons.
We have them all. That's weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
So who have we got in today? Looks like a nice ton of the regular suspects. Debbie and Jessica on the team, and yay. So guys, if you have any questions about when does the Etsy holiday sales pick up, if you have any questions about anything just now, because we are nearly running out of year. This is crazy. So
it's coming fast,
isn't it? Yep. Oh,
Emily says, I'm rocking my alter ego. No, this is actually my ego. What you guys normally see is my alter ego.
Exactly. Yay. We have to keep it all toned down for the rest of the year. Earth tones and mocha trending. There's a whole load trending. I actually at the weekend went round a load of places looking at all the Christmas decorations that are up in the shops, which should be banned. We should be allowed to get through Halloween first, but that's not going to be the case. About 3 weeks ago, I noticed a neighbour behind me has already got their Christmas decorations up in their house.
That should not be allowed.
Exactly. That's not right at all.
Although, to be fair, this year Halloween did start early. All the stores started having, in like July, they started doing their Halloween displays and all that type of stuff. So Halloween did start early, so it only makes sense that Christmas starts early. Although, as we've seen through all the stats and everything, Christmas shopping has not really picked up yet, at least in the online market space.
Yep, sadly not, but this is not unusual. I think over the years, the holiday shopping has been starting at different times, but in the past few years, it's definitely seems to be getting later and later, sadly. There was a trend for a while when it was getting earlier. I remember my first big panic Christmas orders were happening in July and August. Now, definitely not. Your big panic buys are happening in December, and you're like, no, please.
Yeah, but also with Black Friday being on November 28th this year, it is a very late year. So expect it to be the first or second week of November where we start to really see that pick up leading into the holiday season, just because it does start that late.
Yep. Good
Yeah.
time to mention this if I actually remember to share my own screen instead of just randomly share Brian's screen. But if you haven't seen Etsy's Cyber Sale event, they've got the dates out for it. It is October the 27th, November the 24th to December the 2nd, joined by October the 27th to be considered for Etsy marketing during the sale. So they want you to have at least 25% off. I will say, as I say every year, sales aren't a bad thing necessarily. However, what Etsy's saying here, like, be considered for Etsy's marketing during the sale. This marketing is for Etsy and for all of us in a conglomerate, as it were, so that Etsy can say there's a big cyber sale happening. The chance of you being picked and featured in any of their event-wide literature anywhere is very, very slight. I do not bet your shop success on Etsy featuring you. It's very slight. So having a sale is only going to work if you have enough traffic for people to notice it anyway, or if you have enough following on social media. So don't assume, you can't just decide to join in with the sale and then assume things will take off. It's not, you might, if you're not getting noticed, you still won't get noticed.
Yeah, just because you're doing the 25% off during those dates, that doesn't mean that Etsy's going to feature you anywhere. You might get sales because you're running a sale, but you also might have got those sales normally anyways. If you're just doing it to get into Etsy's marketing, not a good strategy, unless you are big enough, or unless unless a lot of the time you see that your listings have Etsy's picks or anything like that, then you're more likely to be shown in those marketing materials. Otherwise, you could just run a sale because you want to run a sale, but don't expect it to be boosted by Etsy.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, people, well, used to say, we get it a lot less now anyway, but people used to say, oh, I have to run a sale because last year I ran a sale, and at that time when the sale was on, my views and sales increased. Well, they did for everybody. Like, the whole idea, well, firstly, it's that time of the year when people are hopefully rushing out for their holiday sales. But also because Etsy has this event it can promote. It's like Amazon having its Cyber Week sales. People hold off and wait and all go shopping on Amazon and don't always check that everything that they're buying's on the sale. They've just started shopping, their credit cards out. So
they've added things to their carts or to their favorites and are going to purchase it whether it's on sale or not. They're just hoping that it is.
exactly. I think we all do that, yes. And Emily's saying, disappointed Etsy took away our ability to set a minimum order value for the cyber sale. I didn't realize they'd done that. Yes, it is a pain. And it is 25% or more before they're going to consider you. So decide if you can afford that. You could run a sale at whatever off makes sense for you, or not run a sale at all. I still, even though these past few years have been a lot more quiet for me, I still don't run a sale because I don't want to encourage my customers to wait to the last minute, because my stuff takes time to make and ship. If they come to me and say, oh no, it's terrible, I wanted to buy from you, but you're not having a sale and it's too late. It's like, sorry, should come earlier next year. So you've got to decide what works for your shop, basically.
Exactly. The first couple of years we ran sales just because it's Black Friday, you have to run a sale. And then we realized we didn't actually have to do that. So we haven't run a sale since, and we haven't seen a drop in sales due to that. So definitely don't if you don't feel that you have the profit margin to run a sale, don't run a sale. Do not try to appease the masses by hurting your finances. It's not worth it, because people are shopping anyways. If people are going to shop, they're going to shop.
Yeah, I'd say the thing to do, if you can, is to look at how quickly you can ship, how you can talk to the local people, because if you can, the really, really big shops quite often, in fact, quite a lot of shops give up shipping early. They just say no more Christmas orders.
Yep.
So if you're struggling, it could be that you can pick up sales in that bottom bit, but make sure you understand the speed of shipping and everything. Do not, I've done this for many years, don't leave it till the last post office shipping day, because it will be late. That's not a guarantee. I don't know where, well, with the UK post office, I don't know where they make up those numbers. They expect to get from the back end of nowhere in Scotland to the back end of nowhere in America in like 5 days in the Christmas season. It's not going to happen. So give yourself the wiggle room, but see what you can do. Digital sellers and stuff, people that have, if you make things to order, make a few extra things just now so they're ready to ship out if it doesn't cost you a load of money to do it. Like your best sellers and stuff, have a little stock, be ready.
And keep in mind that that by the last postal day, if you're waiting for that last postal day, it's very likely that you will lose power that day. That's how Murphy's Law works. And it's, if something could go wrong, it will go wrong, and it will go wrong at that last minute if you're waiting for the last possible minute to ship. So that's always, it's always best to plan ahead and give yourself a few days extra. Also, things are just slower. Things are slower moving. So,
yeah. And it's always, even if it's not our end, something happens in the postal service. Postal workers go on strike. We've had that in the UK. You've now got that in Canada. You know, it's, or tariffs are landed on us. Surprisingly, all these things slow up the postal system. I don't think the US postal system has quite recovered yet from what I'm seeing. People are still talking of packages being stuck and having trouble. Canada's going to take a wee while to clear its backlog here as well. So
yeah, we are, as of this week, we're on rotating strikes now with the Postal Service, and they only started accepting online label purchasing yesterday, so that they can clear out the backlog, but they're still not accepting bulk commercial mail because they just have so much backlog from the weeks on strike. And because it's a rotating strike, that means that there's not as much service as there normally was. So everything's a mess. So those who are in Canada and using Canada Post, give yourself extra time.
yeah. Oh, they know the times to pick, and it always hurts us, the little sellers. So
But that's when you have the most negotiating power.
that's true. Fair enough. Yep. I mean, that's it. I've seen in the UK last year or the year before, we had the postal strike. I think it was like for the end of November. It was an absolute nightmare. But I also can't argue. I've seen how hard those wee guys work running around in their cute little shorts in the middle of December. And,
Yep.
yeah, working stupid hours and not getting enough pay. So I can't complain. So it's tough, but yay.
And just mentioned that Etsy announced that they are doubling the purchase protection program. So it's normally $250 throughout the year. During the holiday season, they raise it to $500, and that is coming into effect.
Fantastic. I hadn't seen that, but yeah, glad to see it. If anyone doesn't know about this, because people get caught out all the time, the Etsy Purchase Protection Program is something you really need to look into if you sell at all, because this is Etsy promising to buyers that they're covered. Like if their item doesn't arrive on time or if it's not as anticipated, Etsy will refund them. If your item is eligible for the purchase protection program, then Etsy will refund them out of their money. If it's not, they'll refund them out of your money. So you have to know what you need to be doing, and that is things like shipping on time. But the worrying one is, up until they change it for the holidays, your order value has to be less than $250 or less, and it's up into $500 or less. people with big ticket items can really get hurt with this if you're not aware of it. If someone buys a ring for $700 or something, and then it arrives a little later because of postage issues, Etsy will refund the customer if they complain about it. So,
Yep.
yes.
As JD mentioned, he said, I haven't seen a sale in a month. It's really getting scary. Don't know what to make of it or if I'll continue after the holidays. I've been at Etsy 15 years. I've always had good sales. This year is definitely lower than normal pandemic wise. It's getting back to normal pre-pandemic numbers. Not overall, but like that's kind of where the trend is going. We definitely saw a drop in all traffic on Etsy, Amazon, and eBay around mid-August. They all just kind of went down. It's starting to plateau now, which is great. On Etsy, eBay is still dropping. Amazon is also plateauing, but eBay is plateauing, which is nice. It has been a lot harder to make sales. Yeah, there you go. It's been a lot harder to make sales because of that big drop. And there's lots of reasons. That drop normally does happen. It seems to have fallen harder this year because just the state of the world at the moment, the tariffs coming in, the financial insecurity, the world just up in arms. And it's just, it's been really harsh. But those are the numbers for Etsy, and Amazon basically mimicked the exact same thing.
Yep. And this is eRank's sites tool. For those of you that don't know it, this is a paid feature, so we're sneaking in and showing you it, but it's here in sites. So this, what was that? That was Amazon. You can see the drop. It does hopefully look like things are settling down. And you said
yeah, it
eBay.
looks like both eBay or Etsy and Amazon had a little blip at the beginning of October where it did rise and then drop back down, and now it is like officially plateauing and starting to head in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed.
And we'll find out more information on October 28th when Etsy drops their Q3 financials, and that's when we'll see exactly what's been going on.
Yeah, so eBay's been a little bit later, but hopefully. And I spent all yesterday looking for this and couldn't find it. And then thank you, Debbie, for posting it in the Facebook group. But here is the trend from 2 years ago. And you can see we're about, where is it, the 16th? We're about here this year. And that's kind of mirroring it pretty close, isn't it? So, yes, this is the same trend we see every year, and hopefully it's going to start picking up. But I can't lie, this is the worst. JD, this is the worst I've seen in a very long time as well. Everything. I think I switched off stuff to America a few weeks ago, and then when I switched it back on again, things have not recovered to any kind of level. All the little tricks I used to have for just getting a bit more traffic, nothing's happening. I think it's just, it would be lovely to blame Etsy, but I think it's the state of the world in many respects, as in people don't have the money, people are shopping later, but also you see this often when things are difficult. A lot of people aim to have a side hustle, so we'll probably see more people coming into Etsy. And also, sadly, when things like this are happening, everyone panics and pays a lot for adverts. We're getting this question all the time. It's like, Etsy's not using all my ad budget. It's not doing it because it's being mean. It's doing it because it can't, because there's too many people advertising. Because if you tell Etsy you want it to spend $20 a day or $200 a day, it would love to spend that money of yours. So yeah, all things like this are saying Etsy's not showing you because it can't. There's just either not enough people or too many listings competing as well, or a bit of both, probably. But yeah, hopefully the trends have always been that things are going to be starting lifting soon. So
The trends have always been back to school is where it starts dropping, and then like after Halloween or getting close to Halloween is when it starts to head up. And it looks like both Amazon and Etsy are starting to recover. And the fact that all marketplaces are down. I'm in all of the groups, so I see what Temu sellers are saying, and Amazon sellers and Shopify sellers and everything. And even Temu sellers are complaining that sales are down. It's
yeah,
like that's what a lot of sellers believe, a lot of like Etsy sellers believe is killing the Etsy market, but even they're experiencing the same downturn.
yeah, it's definitely tricky for sure. Um, I'm just seeing not Emily, Jennifer's asking, what are my tricks? There are many tricks for things that you can do, which is working on your social media. I've got a big, not a campaign, but a big load of posts happening on my social media that usually brings a little bit of people, not a squeak. Creating new listings around some good SEO that usually works for me. Now, create it like relisting or listing all the time is not necessarily a good strategy, but sometimes it can. It can help, make new things, post them. If it's what people like, then you do get a little bit more seen. But I'm telling you all these things because nothing's happening just now, basically. And also reassessing the adverts, advertising some of my more popular listings that I know drive traffic. But again, zilch. Sometimes if things are doing well, I won't always be advertising my big sellers because they're already selling. But if nothing's selling, I'm attempting that. But yes, I have many things, but there's no point no point sharing them really because nothing's working, even just to pick up a little bit. I think the big thing is at the minute in time, it is driving our own traffic is going to be the most important because Etsy doesn't have the traffic to drive just now. If the people aren't there, there's nothing it can do. There's nothing really that Etsy's doing wrong as such, that they're not trying to throttle anyone's sales. They would love us all to be making sales, but they can't invent it. So if we can drive some eyeballs ourselves through fun social media things, it's about your best bet. Unless you are an advertising whiz and know how to do like Facebook ads or something, but I wouldn't advise it if you don't know how to do it. And also places like Temu, when they're struggling, they drop a lot of money into social media ads. So they're very expensive just now. So our best thing to do is look at look at what used to drive traffic to your listings and see, like, are you still ranking for those keywords that used to work? Are people searching for those keywords? If you're ranking for the keywords, I wouldn't change those listings that are sitting because they might be in the good position. There's just no one there yet. Maybe make some different listings around some different SEO to see if that works. But it's this bit. It's like, don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes. Don't change everything because we might be in a good place. So just hold on and hopefully things will get good. It's the time to focus on other things, focus on some keyword research to see what other things people are looking for that you can maybe make some cool different other things. But yeah, you can't keep on changing your best listings in the hope of catching those eyeballs, which
Exactly.
is
And one more thing that I forgot to mention there is I also, because like my company started as an in-person vendor at markets and stuff like that. So I'm in all of the vendor market groups as well. And even they're saying that not only sales, but traffic, like foot traffic to all the markets is down like 60-80% compared to last year. So people just aren't shopping. And to answer JD's comment there, he said October last year I had 27 sales. I sell big ticket items and have had a lot invested in inventory. The problem with big ticket items is that works well when people have money, and when people don't, that's when it starts to get very tough. What I found works. It might not work for you. It works for my particular shop. It might not work for your shop. But having the different price points, having some lower cost items, some medium cost items, and some high cost items, then you appeal to everybody. Whoever can afford which tier, that's what they're buying. Lately, I've been seeing a lot more smaller orders versus those big $100, $200, $300 orders with the larger items, or a lot of the smaller items. I'm seeing a lot of smaller orders. And that's likely to continue until that rise in traffic.
Yeah, it is always good to have the different price points, though, because those big ticket items can be aspirational things that people come to your shop. They press their nose against the glass going, that's a beautiful thing, I'd love to have it. And then they buy the littler things. And also, to be perfectly honest, really good luxury quality items are probably always going to sell, because people with lots of money have lots of money, to be honest. So don't feel bad about having luxury or quality items. The other thing is, a lot of the time, if people are coming to Etsy, I'm thinking of people like knitters and things like that. You can buy a cheap hat from Temu that's actually pretty good quality. You can buy it from your local store. So if people are coming to Etsy, it might be good to stand out by having the quality things. You're not wanting to buy 10 cheap hats, but you want to buy one in the beautiful, luxurious fabric as a gift for something that's going to last. When times are tough, people do often talk about like heirloom gifts, things that are going to last. I saw this in researching what's popular even for just like Christmas decor just now, and it's very much traditional stuff that's going to last for a few years rather than the disposable stuff. So yeah, don't fear. It's probably not best for most of us to race after the cheaper market, because that's kind of covered by Temu. But having a few little lower price points that are in your style, that are in your quality, is kind of good. We've seen that with some of the high-end painters. They have their one-of-a-kind paintings and also mouse mats printed up of their painting. So that's the difference point. You're being better than just the Temus and everything in the world. I feel bad slagging off Temu because I've got loads of stuff from them that's actually quite good.
I have as well, but I've also got a lot of stuff that's.
I've been lucky, I guess.
JB said, actually, my views are very similar as last year's, and a lot of people have things in their carts they're just not buying. I am guilty of that right now. I buy way too much off Etsy, and right now I have 60 something items in my cart. That is not typical. Usually it's like 10 or 15. I seem to be stacking stuff too. I'm guilty of that. Tis the season. The season to kind of add things to the cart and wait to buy, or just see where finances are to see how much of it you want to buy. See if you are still, wanting to go to the family gathering. So you might not need those presents. You never know what's
True
going to
enough. Yeah, this is people planning ahead. And this is what you find quite often, especially on a difficult year. It's not a case of sales will build up gradually. It's like the tipping point of people build up that basket, and suddenly when they've got the credit card out, when they're buying, they buy everything they're going to buy. It's a big chunk of sales. I've seen this myself years ago. I think it was like the last week in November, and I'd had absolutely no sales. And I went out to walk the dog, and while I was out for an hour, my shop did not stop pinging. And that is not usual, but it was just people had got to the point, it's like, oh, heck, it's nearly Christmas. I better start buying. And they just buy the lot. And I know I do that. Like that Amazon cyber, I don't care about the Etsy cyber sale. It's the Amazon one that gets me. I go to buy some stuff, and then suddenly the floodgates open, and I'm buying from Etsy, I'm buying from everywhere, regardless of what sale they've got. It's just like, I'm buying stuff now. Let's get it all done.
Last week in Canada was a Prime Day sale on Amazon, and I bought paper towel, but I bought like 6 things off Etsy.
Oh well, that's good. I really
It
have
put
to
me in a
start
buying
buying
mood. Shopping and not finding anything put me in the buying mood, and Etsy benefited for sure.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah.
Geek Authority said there is no stacking of ads, correct? A customer will be able to decide which coupons sale is better for them, or does the opting in on the Etsy ad things knock out everything else? There is no stacking on ads. So if you have one of the offers and it's 10% off, and then you're sending out coupons or running a sale for 15% off, the buyer will automatically get the higher deal. They'll automatically get the 15% off. If you have a 20% off store-wide sale and you have a bundle with 3 different items and it only ends up being 15% off, it'll give them the store-wide sale, not the bundle discount. It'll always default to the highest sale for the customer, the cheapest price for the customer. But the promo codes do not stack. You can stack free shipping with a % or $1 off, but you can't stack $1 or % off with another $1 off.
Thankfully, that could be a very nasty surprise. But everybody who hasn't done it, if you're doing all these sales and everything, remember and calculate your profit. Figure out how much the fees and everything are, because people can get nasty surprises. Not only the fees, but also depending on your shipping methods. If you're doing fixed shipping on Etsy, make sure you understand how much the shipping prices are, because they've usually, most countries, they kind of go up somewhere about now and people get a nasty surprise. So I hate to see that when somebody's running all sorts of sales and they haven't calculated their fees, and then it's an offsite ads fee, or the shipping's higher than they thought, and suddenly you end up not making any money. So
I actually had this question yesterday, so I might as well answer it because it's relevant. When you run a sale, so let's say you're giving 20% off. If your item's $100, you give 20% off. Now the person's only paying $80. You're only paying Etsy fees on the 80. You're not paying it on the whole before the discount. You're paying on the total that the customer paid. So you'll only pay the Etsy fees on the 80, not the entire 100.
yeah, so it is slightly less, but it still all adds up. But yeah, definitely good to know. Yes, a lot of people are talking about lately, I'm surviving because of my repeated customers and custom orders. Absolutely.
That's one thing I actually wanted. Sorry, that's one thing I just wanted to throw out to the people watching right now. Do you notice an increase in repeat buyers? So all the sellers out there, are you noticing an increase in repeat buyers over the last month? I definitely am.
I have been hearing it from quite a few people. Absolutely. There could be many reasons for that. We could just, like, it could just be a coincidence, but I'm thinking Etsy has been changing its homepage, you know, how it's targeting people, how it's sending you alerts and things. So that could very well be something. And it's obviously doing something. If that's the case, it's doing something good because it's showing the right person at the right time and they're buying. Also, to be perfectly honest, over the past couple of years, there's been bad publicity about Etsy. So a repeat customer knows you and understands you're a decent seller. You know, they trust you a little bit more, where people are a bit wary of sellers now because there's been some horror stories. So it's like, I don't want to buy off just anyone on Etsy, but I know Brian's a decent person. So there could be.
So
Well, we're pretending. No, Brian is a decent person.
One thing that I have noticed as from a shopper perspective is on the homepage, I'm seeing previous searches and items related to previous searches, but also items related to previous purchases that I bought a year ago or something like that I haven't searched recently, it's still kind of putting that to the top. And I'm also seeing past sellers that I've purchased from in the email marketing as well. And that's something that has never happened. Usually the email marketing is just based on my search history, or just completely random, or my own shop for some reason.
It's usually my shop. Yeah.
Yeah, but lately it's been showing me a lot more past purchases that I've made on Etsy, like not the items, but the seller, other items that seller
Yeah,
has.
that makes sense, because I remember Josh talking about things like sort of prompts for, you bought this last year for so and so's birthday, so you might be interested in that kind of thing. So yeah, that would make sense. If people bought from you last holiday season, Etsy might be saying, hey, you know, Brian's great for Christmas gifts. Have you thought about going back to Brian? So yeah,
Yep,
interesting.
and it looks like, based on what everyone else is saying, they're noticing the repeats as well. Thaw said, yep, my repeats went from 13% to just over 18%. I do think my customers are seeking me out, though I've had 2 big orders this week from repeat customers wanting bigger sizes. It's Heather said 1 out of 3 sales are repeats. I just checked sold orders. It seems to be a very common thing right now that they are pushing they're pushing past customers, which is a good thing. The customer already knows your product, so they're possibly more likely to buy, because that might be part of the personalization as well. Because Etsy's algorithm uses a lot of personalization now based on what the customer's into, what the customer searches for, and anything else they know about the customer. And one thing they do know about the customer is they have shopped with you before, so it's more likely that they're going to show your shop to that person.
Yeah, that could very much the good thing, I guess. Not so great if you don't have customers to be repeating yet, but it hopefully makes it easier once you start getting customers. Etsy will help you hold on to them, which is nice.
Linda said, it is an adrenaline rush to buy things, makes you feel good. It sure does.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Retail therapy is one of my favorite things.
Yes. Oh, it is. It is crazy. I know. I don't buy for ages, and then suddenly you get that and you're going crazy. It's great. Oh, Thoth, I know people do this. Do what my competitor does, double the prices, then offer a 50% discount. What a strategy. Probably an illegal strategy.
Yeah, I was about to say, in most countries that goes against consumer rights, whatever that looks like in different countries. But there's usually some sort of consumer rights act that says your price has to be at a certain price for a certain amount of time before you're allowed to drop it to more than 40% or 50% or whatever that number is. That's why Etsy doesn't actually let you run a sale of 80%, depending on where you are. Depending on what country you're in and what country the shopper's in, it won't actually let you run a sale larger than what your local Consumer Protection Act allows.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Etsy won't stop you breaking the law, basically, for things like this, and for the length of time you can have a sale and things. So you've got to look into it in your country. Last year, I did a bit of research into all of this, and we're not legal experts or given legal advice, but it seemed most countries, it's along the lines of you can't have your item has to be been on sale for an appreciable amount of time before you put it on sale, and that time is usually considered at least as long as you're wanting to run the sale. So it has to have been at full price. If you want to run a sale for a month, your listing has to have been at full price for a month. As I say, that's not legal advice, that's just the advice that's out there. But yeah, and not only that, like, yes, this kind of strategy does work, but people are wise to it, and it devalues your whole shop to an extent. I mean, I remember as a kid there was a furniture shop in a town over that was on
banners that say discount, and those were
yeah,
there permanently. Yeah,
yeah,
everywhere
for
has those.
decades. Yeah, everyone laughed at it, but it doesn't it doesn't help you. You don't rush to that place. You don't think, oh, I'm getting 50% off. You're not. It's a scammy thing. So you go there if you don't have much money and you're wanting to buy something really cheap. You're getting cheap rubbish, basically. So that's the feeling you're giving to your customers. So yeah, sales strategies, you've got to watch yourself with I'm trying to remember the name of the car manufacturer, but there was a very good car manufacturer went bust because of sales, because it had regular sales and people knew the sales were coming up, so they never bought the car at the full price. So the company never made the money. People think, I'll run a sale and that'll bring customers in and then it'll build up my shop. And I bet no,
They will
people
never buy
wait.
full price. Not necessarily everyone, but most people will not buy full price because they know that you're going to run a sale.
Exactly. Yeah. I know there are shops that I wait for their sales.
For some reason, I can't see names today, but IK9077 says, how long do you recommend running a sale for? A lot of that depends on your shop, what you sell, and what your social media looks like. When I run a sale, it's usually either a single day, like a Friday the 13th. I'll run a sale for just the day. Or I'll run it for a weekend, or whatever the situation is. I will generally run shorter sales because that increases the FOMO, the fear of missing out. You promote the sale hard, and then you get everyone buying right away. If you're running a sale for 2 weeks, there's not really the incentive to purchase right away, unless you're selling one of a kind items, and then you can run a longer sale because once it's gone, it's gone. But if you have something that you can constantly be replenishing, then a shorter sale and less frequently tends to do better than running long sales and running them all the time.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I've had 2 sales in the many years I've been on Etsy, and they were both 24-hour flash sales. And at the end of each of them, I got people comment and say, oh no, I missed it. Can you run another one? What's going on? You just have to join my mailing list and find out when they're happening. I didn't give any warning. I just said 24-hour sale now, go. And that's the FOMO is like, you're not getting told about it in advance. It's very rare. And so you're going to have to be ready for it. The other thing is think about when you have your sales. Cyber sales and things can work for some people if you want that as your strategy. But I've always thought a better strategy, why not wait till after Christmas, after the holidays, and then
When
sell off the
things
stuff?
start going down,
Yeah,
then run the sale.
exactly. That's a good time to sell off old stock, to keep the momentum. Like if you've had some good sales through the holiday period, then your shop has that extra listing power. So you're getting seen by the fewer people that are in January and February. So you can keep the momentum going and, keep things going longer into the year than what you had. So
Well, it's only in the US, they've always had the Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals, but it's only the last decade or so that came to Canada. We had Boxing Day, which was the day after Christmas, so you didn't get any sales or deals going into the Christmas season. You got them the day after Christmas.
yeah, we were exactly the same. Those day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, I can remember the name of it. Those Black Friday things you see in the US, we used to have that Boxing Day. People would be
Lined up
queuing.
around the corner. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was one of those people.
Oh. And I think for a lot of time it was just Boxing Day as well.
Yeah.
It was very big sales. I bought my first suit for business interviews in a Boxing Day sale. And then I very nearly didn't get the job because they thought I came from money because I had a really good suit. Nope.
Heather said, so you can't get a new product and put it on an intro sale. You can. Your country, wherever you are, will have strict regulations on how long that sale can be. some countries have a limit on how much, like you can't have it on a discount for 90% within the first 6 months of it being online, or whatever your specific Consumer Protection Act is. But usually can put it on sale. It's usually for 1 week or 2 weeks that it's allowed to be on sale before it has to be off sale for at least a month. Every country is different, and since you're also dealing with international buyers, you also have to worry about the consumer protections in those countries as well, and it's all hoopla. So you can't permanently be on that sale price, essentially.
Yeah, look into it. Definitely, yes. Introductory offers happen. Just look into what the rules are in your country.
Manzer says, can we create 2 shops if our goal each specific niche each shop? Yes, you can have as many shops as you want. I haven't seen an upper limit. It's probably 99 or something, but who knows? I haven't seen an actual limit. So yeah, you can run as many shops as you want. All that you need is a separate email address. You could use the exact same bank account. You'd be using the exact same social and ID, and everything like that would be exactly the same. It's just a separate email address that you need for each account. And then you do need to declare that you have those other shops in your about section or in your profile. And those are the only restrictions, essentially. You can have as many shops as you want. Just remember that in a browser on a computer, you can only be logged into one shop at once. And then you would have to either log out and log back in and keep going back and forth, or use multiple browsers and have, and that's not just multiple browser windows, have like Firefox and Chrome going separately, one logged into one logged into another. In the app, you can switch between them easily. You're logged into all of them and you're just tapping to go to the different ones. And you do get notifications for all the shops, whether it's your active shop or not.
Yeah. And Anna, it's Brian that's getting arrested.
Yay! Why? What happened? What did I say?
There was sirens going on in the background.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a fire truck.
You're so used to them, you just zone them out.
Didn't even notice at this point.
Yeah, so here's some advice. You figured out your competitor. He always has 50% sales, sells 3 times more than you, but works 3 times harder to make the same amount.
Yep.
That's it exactly.
It's the donut shop mentality versus the Rolex mentality. You could sell 10,000 donuts for $1 each, or you could sell a single $10,000 watch. It's a lot harder to sell 10,000 of something than it is to sell one of something.
Yeah, and I bet you it's more than working 3 times harder, because do you know the customers you're getting if you're constantly running a sale and stuff, and you've got the really
more
cheap
messages you have to deal with, and a lot of the not as great customers.
Sadly, yes. I have definitely found that. So, yeah, it is a thing. It's nice to be able to look and say, oh, I'm getting so many sales, but actually look at how much you're making for the time you're spending. And yeah, chasing the cheapest is not always the best.
Exactly.
Yeah. Here's another one, Laurie. I never run sales in my shop and feel it's one reason I have so many repeat customers. They understand there isn't going to be a better price. Exactly. Yeah, that is a very good strategy as well. You know, sales work for some people, but you can train your customer into understanding what your shop's all about. And yep.
I'm just catching up to the arrested part, and JD said, I'm driving and the audio is going through my car. I was looking everywhere for the siren.
Oh dear. Yep.
I'm in Toronto, so there tends to be a lot of sirens, and I don't even notice it at this point.
What I always hate is when you've got music and it's got something that's a little bit like a siren way deep in the background of the music, or see bands that put footsteps subtly in the back. That is not cool when you're out walking at night with music on. Not cool.
Sprouted Dream says, new one-of-a-kind listing up this AM. Etsy puts a bar on the listing that says no reviews for the item. See see shop for other reviews. How awful. When did this happen? I have not seen that yet.
No, charming Etsy. Yeah, I see what they're trying to do, but yeah, it's a new one of a kind listing. They could definitely be fairer to you. That's
Well,
rubbish.
usually they, like, the way that the setup's been is you have the listing underneath, it's the reviews for that listing, and then a tab to go to all reviews. And if you didn't have any reviews for it, they would just show the all reviews. That's actually
Yeah,
really frustrating that they are singling it out like that. I don't like it.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, anyone who sees this and doesn't like it, give Etsy some feedback.
Yeah.
It's always a good way to go. Yeah, so that is the thing I hear people say a lot as well. You offer a coupon in the box, but even those customers, only about 60% use it on repeat. Yeah, people, there are nice people out there and they want to come back and buy from you again and they don't take the discounts and things. That is the thing. I just got reminded a couple of weeks ago that I had a customer that had purchased something and for some reason I hadn't charged them enough. So they hunted me down and found a way to pay me the extra money. I was just going to take the hit, but they decided to pay me extra. So there are nice people out there. They don't want to buy it at sale price. They want to support the artist. So
Studio Snaptag says, does this apply to digital selling shop too? If you're referring to the discounts, yes, it does apply to digital as well. It applies to retail of any sort, whether it's physical or digital. You can't have a consistent sale all the time, because then that is essentially the retail regular price of the item, and that's the consumer protection when it comes to that. If you're asking about how often to run sales, same thing. If people know that you're always running sales, then they're less likely to buy when you are not running a sale. So to maximize profits, you want them to buy when you're not running a sale. And so having them less frequently means that they're more likely to purchase just whenever they're ready to purchase. It's the same way that like Adobe Photoshop or something will run a sale for Black Friday, but if you need to renew your Adobe Photoshop or sign up and it's May, you're not going to wait till November to sign up. So you're going to sign up at regular price.
yeah, if it's Adobe, though, cancel. And then they'll message you and say, why are you canceling? Can we offer you a discount? They're horrible for that.
Yeah, Debbie said, by the way, you can only use new for 6 months in the US. Exactly. There's little consumer protection laws that you do need to be aware of if you are in a country or if you're selling to a country. So if you're in the US or you are in the EU selling to the US, it's the same thing as being in the US. And so you have to follow those same laws of, they can only say new for up to 6 months.
Yep. IK, for the amount of work I put into my PCs, I feel like running a sale does them a disservice because it cheapens them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
100%.
Everyone has different strategies, but I agree with you. You can definitely hold firm and be a shop that sells on its quality.
Yeah, when you run sales, especially if you're constantly running sales, or if you're running a really large sale, if you have like a 50% off sale, you're removing the perceived value of the product. It seems like it's now, even though nothing has changed about the item, it seems like it's a cheaper item, or it's a defect of some sort, or something's wrong with it if you're running such a deep discount.
Yep. And just think, if you had a customer who was going to be a return customer and they'd purchase something and then they look and your shop's at a 50% discount, some of them will think, okay, great, I'll buy again. But some of them will think, okay, well, I'm never going to come back again when you're on full price at the very least, or they might be unhappy with you. And actually, you do get customers messaging and saying, I bought this a week ago and now it's on sale. I would like a refund.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Linda Designs says, what's a good sale interval? Like one every 6 months or so? Yes, no. It depends on you. It depends on your shop. It depends on your audience. I tend to run one, sometimes two sales a year. It's usually last minute, like, tomorrow's Friday the 13th, isn't it? Or, oh yeah, it's National Goth Day. Let's run a sale or something like that. If I was on vacation mode, sometimes I will run a sale for the day when I turn it off, that kind of thing. But make it unpredictable, and people are more likely to join your mailing list if you have one, and they're less likely to hold off until you're running a sale.
Absolutely. If you're very predictable, if you have a sale every 6 months, then people know to wait. Most people can probably wait 6 months for whatever it is you're making. So probably not best to be predictable, but have a reason for it. I say reasons. I'm just remembering one of my sales was because I hit the curb and burst my tire and needed to buy a new tire. So I had a Pam needs to buy a tire sale. It worked. I bought the tire.
You bought the tire. Three Cats Dancing says, I've been waiting 3 months to buy Affinity Designer on their Black Friday sale. Some people have patience like you. That's a virtue. I don't have that kind of patience usually, but yeah, sometimes people will wait for your sales, especially if people know a sale's coming up. They will potentially wait, and that's why sometimes not letting people know that there's a sales coming up, because if you didn't know that they were running a Black Friday sale, you might have just purchased Affinity Designer when you needed it instead of waiting the extra time.
Yeah, I've heard from people, especially on Amazon, that you think like the Amazon cyber sales and Prime sales and everything, they're huge. They drive tons of traffic. But a lot of sellers there say what they find is there's such a dip of traffic in the weeks beforehand because people are waiting for it, that over that period of time they tend to lose money, that it's not made up with the stuff in the sales because people are holding off for it. So it works really well for bringing people into Amazon. It doesn't necessarily work for individual Amazon sellers.
Yeah,
which is my fear with Etsy as well. That's what is going to be happening.
JD said, I love the Friday the 13th idea. It's if that's your brand, if your brand is spooky, or if you have items that are spooky-ish and Halloween's coming up, and Friday the 13th happens to be in October or September or August or something like that, then you might as well do it. My brand is spooky, of course, and so we like our Friday the 13th sales. It happens because it's so infrequent. Sometimes it's once a year, sometimes it's 4 times a year. You never know.
Yeah, and you never know if Bryan will remember just before anyone's thinking of holding off, because Bryan's told you his strategy. Yeah.
Usually until we see someone post about it on Facebook, and it's like, oh, I guess it's Friday the 13th. Do you want to? It's halfway through the day. Should we run a sale?
Yeah,
it happens.
Oh, Linda, I'm going to say easier to run a sale with print-on-demand items than handmade. Actually, no.
Profit margins are so tight.
Yeah. I don't think most people know. I ran some of the numbers pretending I was going to do print on demand, and I ran some of the numbers, and the profit margins are minuscule. Whereas my items, the raw materials are so cheap. Yes, my time, like handmade stuff, you're probably struggling to get paid for your time, but the actual just raw profit margin is absolutely huge. I'm not saying that to say don't pay me, guys, because it's my time too. But print on demand, I think I looked, and it's something like only about the top 10% of print on demand people are really actually making any money. The rest, I can't remember the exact numbers now. I did calculate it, but the rest, when you take into, especially so many are being told to spend so much on advertising, and then, free shipping, and then all their sales and everything they're putting in, they are really not making much money. So No, no, it's actually not. It does feel like it. I know that, but yeah.
Spread a Dream says, in announcement, can we say Black Friday sale? Join my email list. Yes. That's a perfect place to put it in your bio, like in the about section. You could put that. You could put that in the description of your listings. You can easily edit all your listings at once just by selecting them all, hitting editing options, and then edit descriptions. And then you could add text right to the bottom of it and then remove it by doing the exact same thing. It's a great way to get people on your email list for those sale coupons.
Yep. But I think it would be even better for, like, people are expecting Black Friday sales. It would be even better to have an announcement that says that there will be no Black Friday sale. Join my mailing list for my surprise sales when they happen. But
Yep.
yeah, give them the idea, because yeah, Black Friday sale, people, if they're hanging around for Black Friday sales, they're going to buy anyway.
Yep. Emily said, happy Etsy reduced the length of the cyber sale this year. In past years, it was like 3 weeks long, which doesn't work as well. No sense of urgency. Exactly. Anytime I've run a Black Friday sale, it's been on Black Friday, and then usually not even on the weekend, and then on Cyber Monday again.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't need weeks of it. Definitely not. But yeah, that's it exactly. They saturate their own market. For Etsy, it's not a problem. You know, there's no need for urgency, but people who are hearing about Etsy and see there's a sale on, it'll bring new people to Etsy. So it's good for Etsy. It's not good for our shops as such. And we have to remember that. It's like Etsy is running a business where it's trying to get as many customers in to buy things. It doesn't care if they're buying Bryan's things or my things or your things, just as long as they're buying somebody's things. So not everything will work for us as individuals. A lot of people freak out and see Etsy's ideas as things that we have to do, and you absolutely don't have to do them. You're running your own shop.
Exactly. But that is it, unless there's other questions there. I didn't see any. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell down below to get notified when we go live or when we release any videos. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you,
Halloween
guys.
month.
Yeah, spooky month. Yes. Well, I'll hopefully see you next week, and who knows when Bryan will pop up again. He's a surprise, like you said.
Suddenly, sometimes. Ooh.
See you
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
It wasn't easy, no, but with eRank, we're trending now. I dreamed of topping all the charts. I wanted sales to blow up. Remember long nights crafting, no one clicking on my stuff. But I signed up for eRank. Now my shop's a rising star.